So like, I'm like, dang, I actually got a reason to be confident. Like, I don't have any reason to hold me back. Like, as opposed to showing up to the Schultz last year, I took a bronze medal and still had some good notable wins and good tournaments, but like, I still could tell like I was wrestling hesitant. That was because I truly didn't have that true confidence. Like, you can be cocky. Like, I'm a confident person all the time. I don't care if I haven't trained in a year. I still believe in my head I'm gonna come off the couch and beat that ass. That's just how I'm programmed. Like, when you actually have a reason to believe that way, like you're living right, nutrition's right, your diet, your lifestyle, you're sleeping, you're training. I mean, I felt untouchable, you know.
Yeah, man. You could kind of tell just by how long were you at in Jersey training before the Schultz?
2 months, 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay. So really, that's not even that long.
Not even long, man. I'm super, like, I built it, I'm going to keep building and then hit Cuba and then hopefully look to where in a couple months at the Open and really perform, because I got a lot of stuff I can get better on just from the Schultz. Like, if I watch that tape. Right. I got a lot of good little adjustments I can make, and I'm going to try to put them to use in Cuba next week.
It's nice being able to make those adjustments with a gold medal as opposed to like being upset and having to make those adjustments.
Right. Yeah, I hate that one saying, you don't win, you either win or you learn. You win or you lose. You learn both. You can learn from wins and losses. It just so happens that when you lose, you want to call it I learned. No, I'm learning when I
win. What's your I mean, you talked a little bit about it, but like, what now? You don't got to maintain a scholarship, right? You're not trying to like get college paid for anymore. What's your biggest motivator?
Honestly, I never even looked at the sport as a way to make money or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Getting a D1 or getting opportunities in high school, getting flown around and have your own place. Like, I had some really cool experiences just as a side effect of being good at my craft, you know?
Right.
So my goal is honestly the same as it was since I was a little kid. Like, growing up, it was to be a state champ. And then you do that, you're like, okay, what's next? Okay, senior nationals, Fargo. I want to be a national champ. In college, I fell short. I never got my NCAA title. So you do what you can do, and let's go get the next best thing, which is a world or Olympic title.
Right.
Now, obviously, to do that, I got to beat David Taylor, who's pound for pound #1 ranked wrestler in the world, all weights,
Yeah.
So that's my goal. My goal is to, first and foremost, make this world team and get another match with him. But honestly, I just want to see the best version of myself by the Olympics.
Yeah.
It's no money motivated. I'm not money motivated. If I was money motivated, I wouldn't even still be wrestling, I don't think.
Right.
So I've never been.
That's not a sport. It's not a sport you really strive if it's for the money.
Right. If you're trying to be a multimillionaire, you're in the wrong game. So
you better have a shoe.
But like, guess I'm not complaining. I'm living great. Like,
yeah.
What I love. So I mean, I see a lot of my friends around my age working 9 to 5s, and I mean, I don't really want that life either. So
yeah.
My goal, honestly, for now, by the time I'm 27, 28, I just want to get to the best version of myself, and I think here's the spot to do it. With these training partners and the setup I got.
No doubt. I mean, you're pretty much living I don't know if this is the right word, but you're pretty much living a scholarship right now. Like, you're self-funded, or I mean, you're funded to be able to train and do what you love. So why not? I mean,
yeah, dude. I don't pay for rent. I get a salary. Yeah. It's literally my job. I got tons of sponsors and incentives and different deals with companies and And basically, anytime I want, I have a place down in Fort Lauderdale, Boca, American Top Team, like UFC, not UFC contract, but a spot to train to make my goals reality with fighting. So why jump into that?
That's Mako and those guys.
Still in love with this.
That's Mako and those guys.
Mako, Covington, Colby's they're flying me down to train with him for a week before his fight, because I think he's next in line for the title fight.
Okay, I just read something about him. It's off topic, but so actually it's not off topic because it brings me to the next one. So the very first time, like, I was playing college ball up until like 2016, right? I spent some time in the military, then went JUCO, then played Division I football. I really wasn't like, I mean, Division I is like a job, right? So I was volunteering in the high school wrestling room in town, but like I wasn't watching a ton of it and like paying too much attention. I just didn't have the time. And so the first time I really saw like Pat Downey, and I've seen like video clips and stuff and like heard your name, but it was on Twitter, and it was with Ben Askren. Am I right? Am I thinking that right?
Oh yeah, I thought you were gonna say Daniel Cormier. Yeah, but
him too. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He's pretty active on social media.
And all.
Okay, so Ben is the one that enticed me because I went to a camp with Ben when I was younger, so I like followed him for a long time. But like, what was it about that like got you going a little bit? Like
that was like what started us.
Yeah, because I could feel like that could be something in the future. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like,
oh, I'd love for that to be something in the future.
Right. Yeah.
He ain't gonna take me down, hold me down, beat me up like he does everybody else. I guarantee that's gonna be different. No,
But y'all have like similar personalities, is what I'm saying.
What's that?
You guys kind of have a similar way of like talking to people. He probably is a little more premeditated about it, but like I feel like you guys are kind of. You know.
Yeah, it's like it's not like just aimless shit.
Yeah.
It's like logic. Yeah,
right.
Like really getting under the skin good. Because it's like that smarter type. Like you saw him at the press conference probably.
Yeah.
He's running the show now, and that's the thing. Like you don't not have respect for a guy like that, because if you do, then you're disrespecting the very thing you do. You know.
Right.
I don't not have respect for Daniel Cormier. He's Olympian. Ben Askren, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. He's Olympian. I don't disrespect guys that, you know.
Right.
So people kind of have this misconception when they see that happening. But, in fact, it's probably the opposite. It's probably because I do respect these people that's why we have that. That's why I feel like I need to voice my opinion. And that's probably why their words can get to me, is because I have this level of respect for them, so they matter. It's not like some random Twitter troll, you know, harassing me.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's in the know, and this dude's somebody.
Yeah, he's not as ignorant as most people.
Exactly. But what happened was I'm in Wisconsin after shit hit the fan at Iowa State, and my buddy Ben, you know, my vehicle blown up. Ben came and picked me up. We're training together.
That was a cool part too, man.
Right. So I'm doing all that in Wisconsin with Ringers Club. You know the club Ringers?
Yeah. Okay.
Where Thielke and Hearinger come from, and Provisor.
Yeah.
So
I had a Washington kid just down there.
Yeah. So I'm there, and all I'm seeing and hearing is about these dudes complaining they're losing all their kids to Askren Club, Askren Wrestling Academy,
right.
NWA. This dude's out here recruiting elementary and middle schoolers, stealing them to his club, charging them 5 times as much. Got the parents, and all I'm like basically is like, dude, you're a fraud. You're not in this for the betterment of wrestling. You're in this for the betterment of your pockets.
He's a businessman.
Businessman. And I'm not knocking that. He has a great name, Ashton Wrestling Academy. Okay, do your thing. But guess what? I'm mad when I show up to teach a private and there's 5 kids here when the last 3 weeks ago there was 30.
Yeah.
And I see this coach who's a great guy, James, complaining every day about how his club's going under because AWA, Ashton Wrestling Academy, won't stop, you know?
Is that what triggered it all?
What?
Is that what triggered it all a little bit?
Oh, it triggered it all, because I'm there with these people, and I'm all about, like, respect and loyalty, and these people are doing good by me, and I'm not just going to sit around and watch this dude do wrong by these good people.
Right.
So you can ask Ben Provisor, too. He'll tell you the same thing. He's much more close with the scene there, too.
Yeah.
Much more tighter with him. He'll tell you the same thing. He doesn't like them, and, dude put a sour taste in my mouth, and then we were supposed to train together, and then hits me up on Twitter, calls me and says, yeah, man, your public image, it might not, with your public image being the way it is, it might not look so good for us to train together. And I was like, listen, dude, I don't care if the public knows it or not. We don't got to take any pictures. I won't bring the phone to your training compound. I just need a body to try to help me get ready for the Open and the trials. which is he gave me his word that we were going to train together, and then he didn't. So that's when I started calling him out on, like, you know.
I feel that. I mean,
he just wants to call me crazy and not. He literally didn't acknowledge any of the facts. He didn't acknowledge any of the facts about him stealing the kids and ruining the wrestling scene there, and he didn't acknowledge anything. So
there's a lot there, man. There's a little bit. There's a little bit there. Well, that's exciting for me as a I don't know, like a bystander who knows each person. You know, like, who knows, man? Especially with your guys' line of work after wrestling's done. That might be cool.
I'll get down to welterweight.
I like, you know what, though? I like some of what Ben says actually makes sense sometimes. He, you know, he's doing the thing for Rudis. He's actually done some stuff for Wrestling Mindset in the past.
He's a smart dude, too.
Yeah, but you know what's cool is, like, I don't agree with everything he says. You don't, and nobody has to, but he was talking about, like, people who, wrestlers, right? The guys in the room who do all the right stuff. They show up on time. They're eating the right food. This is like, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but like probably what you weren't in high school, am I right? Like the guys with the straight A's and like trying to do all the extra stuff, be vocal leaders and be, camaraderie and all these things, right? And then he said he on the other end of the spectrum, there's what he calls the cowboys, right? Who are still equally as good at wrestling, but don't have to do all the extra stuff and don't necessarily feel obligated to, like, maybe be a leader or eat right or do all these things. And I'm like, and he talks about, as a coach, which one would you rather have? And I'm like, dude, I want a room full of cowboys, man. Like, give me that. And
like, yeah,
I think about you. You're kind of a cowboy, dude. Like,
yeah, like
in that regard.
All the time. Like, I didn't grow up in a wrestling household. I was a first generation wrestler.
Yeah.
I didn't have no role model. You know what I mean?
Right.
Grew up in East Baltimore. Went to lived in Burnett Park. Went to Glenmount High School. Only white kid in the school. Like, I didn't have those type of lifestyle. I just wasn't me. I just was somebody who, I was wild in the park. I was out all the time. Like,
right.
I was a cowboy. Call it what you want.
Yeah.
But like, I still could wrestle.
Right.
You know what I mean? I could still throw that ball, and I could still play the game, do the sports and stuff. But like, yeah. So that's one thing I'm learning now to accomplish what I want to do.
Well, your ceiling's higher because of that, though.
Yeah, but I've also changed a lot too.
Sure.
Because at this level, it's not like at Fargo or
No, you're a professional now, man.
It's not even like it is in college.
Right. No, you're a professional now.
And you ain't gonna beat nobody worth beating if you're not living a certain life. Like, I don't care what you say. Like, you gotta get to sleep. You gotta eat this right stuff. And like, I'm starting to see that as I'm turning 25, 26 now, and like, that lifestyle stuff matters.
Yeah, man, dude. That's
a big thing I've changed, man. As well as obviously training.
Right.
Like, I used to think I could just show up to compete.
Yeah.
You should have saw me at the U.S. Open last year. I looked terrible.
Just going for it.
3 months before it.
That's great, dude. Because that mentality is like 1 in a million like at that level, and then.
That's the thing, is people look for reasons not to compete. Oh, I don't got the right shoes on. Oh, I didn't pack my right underwear.
Right.
Oh, my fingers aren't taped. Like, they look for reasons not to compete. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm out here just trying to find a way to get to the Open.
Right.
Knowing damn right well, if you let me in that tournament, I will qualify for the trials, and that's how I open up this door with the NJRTC.
Wow. I can envision you just like showing up, dude. Like, somebody give me a pair of shoes, man. Like, what size are those? Like the little kid at the bar, other kids thank you. Huh?
I said the power of my mind it made everything happen.
Are you optimistic?
Yeah.
Like, what's the word? Like, I'm over optimistic. That's not the cool word I'm thinking about, though. There's like a word, but it pretty much, like, you're optimistic. Are you optimistic about too much, you think?
Oh, yeah. My belief, I'm delusional. Yeah.
Delusional, yeah, that's the word, man.
Yeah.
Delusionally optimistic.
Oh, yeah. I'm literally,
I'll
say stuff on Twitter, and I'll say it publicly, too, because I believe it so much.
Right.
I'm like, I'm about to go to World Team Trials and wrestle Taylor, and he's not going to score on me.
Dude, that's great. And the thing is, you believe it, though. You believe that, though.
Yeah, but you got to have a reason to believe it. You can't just believe it because you're cocky.
Right.
Because then you see what happens. You lose to David Taylor.
Yeah, and your optimism is crushed.
I mean, in the semifinals of the World Team Trials, I tech crushed him right before it. Me and Ben training together, and then it was 2-0 after the first period, and then he smoked me.
Yeah. I mean, that's like you said, man. He's like pound for pound the guy right now.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
You talked about being like a kind of a late bloomer. Dude, I really didn't mature. I didn't start a varsity football game in high school, and I went to a crappy small town high school. Yeah. And so for me to like play Division I was laughable to a lot of people. And so for you, I want to know how that. I know a lot of, especially in wrestling, it's funny because you get the guys who aren't big enough to play football. Mm-hmm. Like there's a couple unicorns out there, like who are like, like there's a few guys who could probably do both, right? Bigger weights. But for the most part,
I first committed to college for football.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're probably one of those guys, right? Like Jaden Cox. I played college ball with one of his high school teammates. He said he was the best football player he's ever seen, dude.
Yeah, Jaden can play.
Yeah. And so
Jaden's an athlete. Yeah.
And so there's a few unicorns like that. But in wrestling, you get a lot of late bloomers. Mm-hmm. Like I met like even guys who are fully matured, I'm like Nathan Tomasello would punch me in the face, right? But like he's the smallest dude I've ever seen.
Yeah, but he's a little juice box.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he's a ball of fire, dude. But, like, you see a lot of that in wrestling. So how do you think that helps? David Taylor's a late bloomer, too, dude.
It's got to help.
It helps.
Because...
if you stick with it.
Yeah, you're not only sticking with it, but, like, you're forced to overcompensate in different areas. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like, okay, I'm not as physically mature. Like, I just started putting facial hair on my skin last year. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, literally, that's the truth. Mom, everybody laughed at me.
Right.
But, like, you know, I get ID'd everywhere I go still.
Yeah.
I can't even freaking go to a casino without getting ID'd. But on the flip end of that, I think wrestling keeps you young, too. I think being active keeps you young. I think that's all, like, a mindset, too. Like, blooming late and stuff, and I haven't hit puberty or he hasn't matured yet. My dad never allowed me to use that as a crutch.
Dude, you
like,
shouldn't.
I grew up boxing in Humar, Baltimore Boxing Club.
Yeah.
With Golden Gloves boxers. Gervonta Davis just knocked dude out last night in the first round. I grew up with these dudes. I'm 8, 9, 10 years old. There's no weight class. These mugs are 13, 14, 15. You know what I mean?
Punching the hell out of you.
Yeah. But I'm not allowed to use that as an excuse.
Right.
And I'm also not allowed to use my wrestling as a way to win the fight. So I'm sitting here figuring out a way to throw hands. Like, it's forcing me to get better at what you got to get better. You know what I mean? And the same with riding the bikes or playing the basketball. Like, that's all we did was compete growing up. So it forced me to raise my level. And then when that other stuff that you're talking about catches up, you know, now my mind's thinking, now I'm like 3, 4, 5 steps ahead. Now I got that explosiveness and that balance and that, you know?
Confidence, too, man. I know a lot of dudes who peak too soon.
Really?
A lot of dudes. I'm sure you do, too, man, who are, like, physically the dude in, like, 8th, 9th grade, and then they're, like, still that same person.
Damn, homie, in high school, you were amazing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think about.
A lot of them, too, man. And then I'll go back home and everybody's still talking to me about it.
Right.
Hey, man, I picked you off. Do you remember in the semifinals state? I picked you off.
You're like, nah, bro, I don't remember that.
Yeah, man, I'm sorry.
All right, dude. Who's the toughest college wrestler in the nation right now?
Toughest college wrestler in the nation.
Hey, you mind if I take a couple screenshots while we're talking?
Toughest.
Hey, you cool if I take a screenshot or two while we're talking?
Yeah. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Do your thing. You got me here on the ropes with this question. You got me here.
I got Jason Nolf, dude. Like, kind of I mean, I know it's between him and probably a couple other Penn State guys, maybe, but.
See, that's what I'm thinking. They're the best at wrestling to me.
Yeah.
So it's like you guys are finding the question: who's the toughest? What do you mean, like just?
Yeah, that's true.
Tough?
Yeah. Okay.
They're so good at the sport. I'm like thinking about it differently.
If you had to pick one guy to put in your corner with yeah, me and this dude are gonna be the toughest and we're gonna win the most matches.
Oh, now if we're talking who I want in the alley with me, that boy Gable, I'll take him.
Who?
That boy Gable Stevenson.
Yeah, he's a dog, man, for a youngster.
You see him? He's mean.
Is that now? That'll take us to the next topic. So I'm glad you answered that. He's obviously the biggest, baddest dude.
He's bigger than me. He can dunk. He's athletic. He's great technique, inside tie, hand fighting. I mean, his shots up to the feet.
Dude, so
wrestle all the positions.
Did you know he was going to be how he was last year?
Oh yeah.
You did?
I've been saying it for years. The kid's never going to lose. I mean, come on. Last year he's taking Tony Nelson. He beat Don Bradley. I mean, he's out wrestling senior level competition.
Would you see him roll with their little who was it? One of their lighter weights, dude. They were just rolling. He looks.
That's what I mean. The dude can wrestle.
It's freaky.
There's not many heavyweights that can roll with a 25-pounder and not snap his ACL.
Right. Yeah, he's on another level.
His body control, like that. He's a special kid.
For me, though, I thought I have so much respect for Division I athletics that even if you're the very best in high school, and he did some stuff on the internationally that's freaky anyway, but I feel like you're just going to run into some grown men who are going to teach you a lesson. He hasn't had that yet. He's actually.
He's been wrestling with grown men. He is a grown man.
He's still maturing though, dude.
He's still maturing
physically too.
He has a beard. He's like 250. He can move.
But that man strength. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Nah, he's gonna hit another level.
Yeah, like Adam Kuhn a little bit showed him a little bit of it.
And when they wrestled, but now you're talking next level.
Right. No, absolutely.
You're talking next level. So that never hit my head when he's thinking college level because he was always putting himself at the net. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I don't want to disrespect the champ, but you think he wrestles with Snyder a little bit?
Oh yeah, they would have a hell of a match.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
In my opinion.
Yeah. All right. Who's without picking your hometown, what do you think's the most underrated part of the country for wrestling?
Yeah, obviously I'd be biased by saying Maryland, huh?
Yeah, don't say Maryland.
Not to mention all them world champs that come from Maryland.
Yeah, I knew you were going to go that direction, but...
Yeah. Okay, so...
Because you've traveled a little bit. You've wrestled a lot of guys from everywhere.
Oh, yeah, man. I've been to every state. Illinois can really wrestle, but I'm not gonna say they're underrated. They're on the map every year, winning stuff. So,
yeah, their youth wrestling too is top in the country, I think.
They're off the hook, and which I don't get how it doesn't translate to the next level. You're talking about that,
right?
That is what really surprises me is how those guys, even the guys in high school, how there's not. Because if you look at statistically, most of the champs are coming from PA and Jersey.
Yeah.
Ohio. And then Cali and the West Coast.
Right.
But as far as underrated, man, I would have to say either a state like Florida or Washington. That's just one that's on the spectrum.
Off to the side a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you made a good point earlier when you were talking about Washington not having any place for their guys to go.
Yeah.
Next level. So forces it creates a situation where you're stuck. You don't want to go too far from home and leave everything. Yeah. But if you really care about, making the next level transition, you almost have to.
Yeah, for sure. We have a kid from Post Falls, Idaho. He'll be a 4-timer. He's headed to Nebraska, and he's probably the last of the group of people to catch an offer like that. You know what I mean? And I wish the best for him because I know his family and stuff. But I'm I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous for these kids from this area going that.
Right.
Taking that.
It says poor connection. I'm losing you here.
All right, I got you. Sorry, I was getting a phone call. So. I can still see you.
Are you still able to see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
It's the Wi-Fi. I got off of it. I know.
Can you? I can see you and hear you if you're still good.
Back on it.
All right. So, what's your? Are you a wrestling shoe guy?
I'm not. I am.
Like you got a brand you rock with?
Nike sent me a few pairs.
Oh, Nike. Oh yeah, you're probably tied up with what you can say right now.
No, I'm not under contract.
Okay.
I can wear any shoe I want. I just.
What's the best wrestling shoe you've ever worn? Best wrestling shoe you've ever worn?
Oh, yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. My Colats, the 2K4s.
Whoa.
Colats.
Those are expensive. You can find a nice pair of those still.
Well, Kerry was. Oh yeah, I can't find them anymore. But Kerry was my coach.
Yeah, that's right.
With boxes full, and just handed them out.
Dang, he's the man, dude.
So those were sick. That was my favorite shoe for a while. I like the combat speeds, and I like those. Man, what are those with the two stripes and they're at kind of high? The Pursuit 2s.
Okay. I'm an Adidas guy. Like, I think it was probably when you were probably in college, like the old Adidas Response and the Addy Strikes and those with the zippers. I'm a big fan of those ones.
Yeah, Addy Stars. Those are
and then those Kale V2s with the Velcro strap too were pretty legendary. You probably had a pair of those.
About how much money he made off those shoes. I was younger, everybody had Kales.
Yeah, he's chilling. All right, just one last question, man. Wrestling mindset. How do you think? How important do you think the mindset is wrestling, dude? What percent?
It's got to be like 75%.
Yeah,
it's got to be the most important. To me, it's the most important thing of it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, like, some of my best performances have been when I'm, like, injured or feel physically incapable or physically inadequate to my full potential.
Yeah.
And it'll do something to my mind which forces me to, like, overcompensate and have a better performance. Because I feel like I'm physically not there. I feel like my mind will, take me farther than I believe I would be able to.
Right. If you, we have mindset coaches all over the country for teams and individuals. You think a mindset coach for you in high school would have, like, done some wonders for you?
Oh, yeah, it definitely could have. I could have been living this type of lifestyle and taken because of, like, my level of, like, I feel like of athlete I was at. I've had this type of focus and, like, maybe corrective criticism or somebody that I trusted enough to guide me. Yeah. I feel like all my energy and stuff could have been almost like harnessed for a more purposeful, because I was everywhere, man. I was running around here, I'm doing this, I'm hanging with the wrong crowd. I had too much energy elsewhere. I just, like, imagine if I had this level of focus towards the goal now. I mean, I feel like I could have, I don't know, like, I feel like I could have been a legit 2012 Olympic team contender. Like, I feel like I could have already been fighting by now because I would have already accomplished my wrestling goals, Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of it, man.
Now here I am with, like, the end of my line, looking at the end of my career, time's running out to accomplish what I feel like I should be able to do.
Yeah. I feel that. And hearing it, you've had some guys in your life who aren't your direct coaches or your parents and stuff that have really influenced you. And, having a coach who can speak wrestling but also help you in life and school, hearing those things from somebody else sometimes just resonates different.
Yeah, and, like, I grew up where I had that. I had Tom DiCarlo from Golden Ring, and what happens? 9 years old, he goes and overdoses, and dies.
Right.
So, like, these are the people that I'm looking at as my idols. So that just gives you a little bit of insight into what type of culture I was growing up with.
Yeah, that's true, man. There's a lot of stuff, people don't know.
No, man. I mean, people watch The Wire and bad stuff in Baltimore. That's West Baltimore, and that's real bad. I'm not saying I was growing up in the projects and stuff like that.
Cherry Hill.
Right. Yeah. East Baltimore. It's a special area, and I've seen talents greater than me not make it out, which also will wake your ass up when you're young, you know?
For sure. Well, cool, man. Hey, I don't want to take up too much more of your Sunday. Dude, I appreciate you. You got a lot,
man,
you got a lot going on.
Good talking to you. I like the combination. I appreciate you taking your time to call.
Yeah, man. We'll keep in touch, buddy, and keep working, man.
For sure. Keep me posted on what comes out to be with this little interview thing.
Yeah, brother, I will. I definitely will. Yep.
All right, buddy. Have a good day.
See you, man.
And that's a wrap for today's podcast.